The dream shifted, and Percy saw Luke and another half-blood studying a map in an underground stone chamber. Luke cursed. "It should have been the last turn! Maps are useless here!" "Sir," his companion protested, "is it true that the larger the group, the more likely you'll get lost?" "Of course it is," Luke growled. "Why do you think we send in all those solo explorers to begin with?" "But don't worry," said Luke. "As soon as we have the thread, we can lead the vanguard through." "But how will we get the thread?" "Oh, Quintus will come through," Luke said. "All we have to do is reach the arena, and it's at a juncture. It's impossible to get anywhere without passing it. That's why we must have a truce with its master. We just have to stay alive until—" "Sir," a new voice came from the corridor. "The Draconic women found another half-blood wandering through the maze all alone, sir. Someone we'd never seen before." Luke looked closer at the boy. Whoever it was, Percy couldn't see his face in the dream. "A blessing from Kronos," Luke said, smiling. "Well, this one may be of some use to us." Percy woke with a start, staring in the dark. A lone half-blood? Wandering through the maze? The next morning, Percy made sure Mrs. O'Leary had enough dog biscuits and asked Beckendorf to keep an eye on her, which she didn't seem too happy about. Then, Percy and Annabeth walked down to the road where Argus was waiting, and they were off to Manhattan. They didn't talk much on the way. Annabeth was too silent even for a demigod, so Percy decided to make conversation just to avoid going insane. "Bad dreams?" he asked her. She shook her head, and she told him about an iris message she received from Eurydion last night, telling her that Nico left the ranch last night and headed back into the maze. "Why didn't Eurydion try to stop him?" Percy asked. "Nico was gone before he woke up," she said. "Eurydion said he's been hearing Nico talk to himself the last few nights, only now he thinks Nico was talking with Minus's ghost again." "He's in danger," Percy said. "No kidding. Minus is one of the judges of the dead. He's got a vicious streak a mile wide. I don't know what he wants with Nico, but—" "That's not what I meant," Percy said. He told her about his dream with Luke, how he'd mentioned Quintus, and how his men found a half-blood alone in the maze. Annabeth clenched her jaws. "This is really bad." It was Saturday, and traffic was flowing heavy through the city. They arrived at Sally's apartment around noon. When she answered the door, she gave Percy a hug, only a little less overwhelming than having a hellhound jumping on him. "I told them you were all right," she said. But she sounded like the weight of the sky had just been lifted off her shoulders. Percy knew firsthand how that felt. They sat down at the kitchen table, eating chocolate chip cookies while they talked about the quest. Percy tried to water down the frightening parts, which was pretty much everything, but somehow that just made it sound more dangerous. When he got to the part about Gary and Stables, Sally smiled. "I can't get him to clean his room," she said, "but he'll clean 100 tons of horse poop." Annabeth laughed. It was the first time Percy heard her laugh in a long time. It was nice to hear, and to his surprise, she sounded cute when she laughed. Why did that sound so familiar? "So," Sally said, "you went to Alcatraz Island, made Mount St. Helens explode, and displaced 500,000 people. Well, I'm just glad you're safe." That's Percy's mom for you, always looking on the bright side. "I wish Paul were here," she said. "He wanted to talk to you." So much had happened since then, he completely forgot all about the school orientation. "What did you tell him?" Percy asked. "What can I say?" she said. "He knows something is different about you, Percy. He's a smart man. He believes that you're not a bad person. He doesn't really know about the truth about you, but the school is pressuring him. After all, he got you admitted there. He needs to convince them the fire wasn't your fault, and since you ran away, well, that looks bad." Annabeth was studying Percy. She had been in similar situations, after all. Life was never easy for half-bloods in the mortal world. "I'll talk to him," Percy promised. After we're done with the quest, and if you want, I'll even tell him the whole truth. She took his hand. Honey, you would do that? Well, yeah, I mean, he'll think we're crazy. He already thinks that. So there's nothing to lose. Thank you, Percy. I'll tell him you'll be home. Then her smile dropped. So, what happens now? Annabeth swallowed her cookie and said, Percy has a plan, Miss Jackson. Reluctantly, they told her the plan and she nodded. It sounds dangerous, but it might work. Mom, you have the same abilities, don't you? He asked her. You can see through the mist, can't you? Sally sighed. Yes, Percy. I've always been able to see more than what was good for me, but not so much now. It was easier when I was younger. After all, that's how I met your father. Poseidon didn't pretend to be someone else to make me love him. I loved him for who he was. It's the way love should work for everyone. Please just be careful. I promise me you'll be safe. We'll try, Miss Jackson, Annabeth said. Keeping your son safe is a big job, though. Sally frowned. What's going on with you two? Have you been fighting? Neither of them said anything. I see, she said. Percy started wondering if she could see a little more than just through the mist. It sounded like she understood what was going on with him and Annabeth, but he sure as heck didn't. Well, just remember, she said, Grover and Tyson are counting on you two. I know, they said at the same time, which embarrassed them both big time. Sally smiled. You can use the phone in the hall, Percy, and good luck. Percy was relieved to get out of the kitchen, even though he was nervous about what they were about to do. He called Rachel, and they met up in a coffee shop in Times Square. She was completely painted gold when they saw her. Even her bikini top and bottom were gold. But nobody looked at her twice as they sat down. So, it's Annabelle, right? She asked. Annabeth, Annabeth corrected. So, do you always dress like that? Not usually, Rachel said. She explained that she did volunteer art projects once a month to help raise money for elementary schools because art was being cut from the schools. But I'm guessing you don't want to talk about that, she said. They told Rachel about the Labyrinth, what Luke was doing, that they needed to find Daedalus, and what had happened the last few times they'd gone in, and much more. So, let me get this straight, she said. You want me to lead you through a place I've never been to before? You could see through the mist, Percy said, just like Ariadne. I'm betting you could see the right path. The Labyrinth won't be able to fool you as easily. And if you're wrong, then we'll get lost. Either way, it'll be dangerous. Though most monsters would ignore you, said Annabeth, but Luke will kill anyone who gets in his way. Nice guy, Rachel said. He's under the influence of a Titan, Annabeth said defensively. He's been deceived. Rachel looked back and forth between the two of them. Then she said, Okay, I'm in. Percy didn't think it would be that easy to convince her. Just like that? Are you sure? Hey, I knew my summer was going to be boring, she said, and this is the best offer I've gotten yet. So, where do we go? Where's the entrance? It could be anywhere, Percy said. Well, actually, it's gotta be in a place that has a Greek delta printed on it. A Greek delta? Rachel asked. I saw one in my hotel's basement. Let's go. After Rachel changed clothes, she showed them where she found the symbol in the basement of the hotel she was staying in. It was on a metal wall, hidden behind a shelf full of dirty laundry. I tried to open it once, Rachel said, just out of curiosity, but it's rusted shut. Annabeth stepped forward. No, it just needs the touch of a half-blood. Percy wasn't sure how that made sense if Grover could make the doors open previously. Sure enough, as soon as Annabeth put her hand on the mark, it glowed blue, and the metal door opened, revealing a dark tunnel. Wow! Rachel looked calm, but Percy couldn't tell if she was pretending or not. So, after you? You're the guide, Annabeth said with mock politeness. Lead on. The stairs led down into the familiar red brick tunnel. They took a few turns and passed a couple of crossroads. Anytime they found more than one tunnel, Rachel pointed out a safer path and avoided other tunnels that she sensed had traps. They had no idea how she could just know all that, but they didn't stop to ask questions. Eventually, there were no more side tunnels, and they finally slowed down. Is it supposed to be this easy? Rachel asked. I don't know, said Percy. It never was before. So, Rachel, Annabeth said, just exactly where are you from, if I may ask? She said it like she was asking what planet was she from, but Rachel didn't act offended. Brooklyn, she said. Aren't your parents going to be worried if you're out late? I doubt it, Rachel said. I could be gone a week and they never notice. Really? Why? That time Annabeth actually did sound curious. Having trouble with parents was something she perfectly understood. But before Rachel could answer, the floor rumbled under their feet. The whole tunnel shook. What's that? Annabeth asked. Run? Percy asked Rachel. Run, Rachel agreed. But they didn't make it too far, because they turned around to find... Kelly! She had two Drachni women on either side of her, and the thing that made all the noise was a Lastrygonian giant. Well, 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 Kelly said. Percy and Annabeth readied their weapons. But before they could make a move, Kelly grabbed Rachel at the speed of light, holding her so tight Rachel was too shocked from the speed to break free. Either way, Kelly might have been too strong for Rachel to get free at all. Taking your little mortal pet for a walk? Kelly asked. Such fragile things. So easy to break. Eat them? The giant asked. No, you dunce, Kelly said. Your master will want these to provide a great deal of entertainment. Now march, half-bloods, or you can all die right here, starting with the mortal girl. All the monsters stayed behind the heroes and kept shoving them forward down the tunnel. Nobody seemed too worried about them running forward since that was the direction they wanted them to go. Up ahead were bronze doors. Behind them came a muffled roar. The giant lifted Annabeth in the air. Go on, Percy, Kelly said. Entertain us. We'll wait here and make sure your friends behave themselves. Percy took one last look at Rachel. I'm so sorry, he told her. Enjoy fighting your brother, one of the Drachni women said. What? They pushed him through the door, and Percy found himself on the floor of an arena.